So here's an interesting fact about Nvidia, which is one of the most valuable companies in the world. In fact, at one point of time, the most valuable, and the first company in the world to reach a $5 trillion market capitalization. But did you know that they started with a misstep? So they started with a chip called the NV1. This chip used quadrilateral shading. So one of the founders, there were three co-founders to Nvidia. One of the co-founders who was responsible for the engineering was very particular about using this proprietary technology because he felt it was better. But the rest of the world was using triangles for shading, and that technology was supported by Microsoft as well. So the first chip basically completely failed. It didn't work at all. There were many problems with it, and it resulted in crashes and so on. So eventually they had to give up on this entire architecture. In fact, the second chip, the NV2, was already planned, and they had to scrap all of that. And then Jensen Huang, who's now a legendary CEO, took the decision to reboot the entire thing and build something that supported industry standards. So here's a lesson for all of us, that if something goes wrong right at the start, doesn't mean that that's the end. You can come back, revisit your decisions, and try and build again. Of course, it can be precarious, and many companies don't make it through the financial troubles and so on and so forth. They get acquired and so on and so forth. But if you're able to survive and be resilient, you can go from getting your first step completely wrong to becoming the most successful company in the world. Now, this story is told in this book, which is The Thinking Machine, which is about more than just this. There's a lot of history about how Nvidia really contributed to the AI revolution. It explains it very, very well. It's written by a writer called Stephen Witt, who's a really good writer. He used to write for the New York Times as a journalist. So the book is really, really gripping, very interesting. I suggest you take a look at it. But this fact really struck me. There's other things in this book as well, but this fact really struck me, that you could get your first chip completely wrong and still go on to become the most important chip company in the world.